Hello, this is Attorney Jeremy Hogan and welcome to Legal Briefs. Today is a very important day because we are going to talk about illegal search and seizure by the popo, specifically while you are driving. When you are pulled over, can the police search your glove compartment, that type of thing? But you are in for a special treat today because I want to use my friend Jay-Z's situation from his song 99 Problems to teach you about this issue. So let me just shoot him a quick text, make sure we're all good before we get started. Okay, he said no problem, go ahead. You know, the funny thing is I spent a long time trying to find video of Jay-Z getting mad or saying crazy things, and the guy never seems to get mad. He's always super positive and uplifting, so I had to do the texting bit. Which positivity comes across in his music because in 99 Problems, even when he's getting pulled over by the police with drugs in his car, he stays extremely positive. But as we're talking about illegal search and seizure, here's the U.S. prohibition against illegal searches and seizures. It's the Fourth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, quote, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. So that's the Fourth Amendment, and if there is an illegal search and seizure, what happens is that the evidence that is obtained is not allowed into evidence, and usually the charges are dismissed. So let's take a look at the Fourth Amendment prohibition against illegal searches and seizures as applied to the situation in Jay-Z's song and how the law applies. Let's look at the beginning of the song, and here it is, quote, the year's 94 and my trunk is raw. In my rearview mirror is the mother effing law. I got two choices, y'all. Pull over the car or bounce on the devil, put the pedal to the floor. Now I ain't trying to see no highway chase with Jake. Plus I got a few dollars, I can fight the case. So the verse starts with the protagonist driving with illegal drugs in the trunk of his car. He has to make a decision to pull over or try to run. And in this case, he makes the correct decision because if he runs from the cops and is caught, any search of the car will be lawful because he has given the cops reasonable suspicion of illegal activity. Actually, just the running is illegal, so the seizure will then be lawful. And on top of that, you will have the added felony charges of fleeing police. So good choice, young man. Also, in case you are wondering, a decent criminal defense lawyer for something like this will cost you around $50,000. And we continue. Quote, so I pull over to the side of the road. I heard, son, do you know why I'm stopping you for? Because I'm young and I'm black and my hat's real low. Do I look like a mind reader, sir? I don't know. Am I under arrest or should I guess some more? So the protagonist here handles the situation very well from a legal standpoint. He says, I don't know why I'm being pulled over, so he doesn't admit to anything. Very good. At this point, he should have asked why he's being pulled over, but the question, if he's under arrest, serves the same purpose. So the police must have articulable probable cause to pull you over. They must be able to tell you what law they believed you violated. If they can't, then any search will be illegal as the stop itself is illegal. Quote, well, you was doing 55 and a 54, license and registration, and step out of the car. Are you carrying a weapon on you? I know a lot of you are. So now we know that the protagonist has been racially profiled. He was really pulled over because he looked a certain way. Now, you may be surprised to hear that although police departments and legislatures are slowly changing this practice, it is not unconstitutional under the Fourth Amendment. In fact, there is a case called Wren versus United States in which the officers admitted they followed a car and stopped the car when they finally saw the black driver commit a minor traffic infraction. And the U.S. Supreme Court said that the motivations of the officers did not matter at all as long as the officer witnessed the infraction occur. In other words, racial profiling is not unconstitutional under the Fourth Amendment. Okay, now back to the song. I ain't stepping out of shit, all my papers legit. Now, be very, very careful with this line because it can get you in trouble. In most states, even for a traffic infraction, the police can force you to step out of the car. Now, this is contrary to many of the videos you might see on YouTube where the person has their window rolled up and refuses to roll it down. Now, this is state specific, so you have to check your state laws, and if you mess up, this could possibly happen to you.
Step out of the car.
No, you don't have the right.
Step out of the car.
You do not have the right to do that.
I do have the right. Now step out or I will remove you.
I refuse to.
Now, the lady in the video was eventually tased, arrested. She died later in jail, so be very careful when you are ordered out of your car, especially in Texas. Now back to the song. This is the officer. Well, do you mind if I look around the car a little bit? Well, my glove compartment is locked. So is the trunk in the back. And I know my rights, so you're going to need a warrant for that. Aren't you sharp as a tack? You some type of lawyer or something? Somebody important or something? Well, I ain't past the bar, but I know a little bit, enough to know that you won't illegally search my shit. So cops are trained to ask for consent because 95% of people consent to the search. Now, if you remember one thing from this video, please remember, do not consent. But you might be thinking, I'm not a drug dealer, I have nothing to hide. No, maybe you aren't a drug dealer. And maybe you do have nothing to hide, but you have nothing to gain by consenting. If there's an empty beer bottle under a seat you forgot about, did one of your wife's Xanax slip out of her purse last weekend onto the floor? Point is, why take that chance? You have nothing to gain and almost everything to lose. So just say no, I do not consent. Preserve your rights. Now, the protagonist in the song rightfully says no, so what can the police do at that point? First, they can look into his car for anything in plain sight, and if the officer can articulate a suspicion that the driver might be involved in criminal activity, even if just that the driver is in a high crime area, it's a very low bar, the cop can pat down the driver and even do a search of the vicinity immediately around the driver, ostensibly searching for weapons. So the drugs in the trunk are safe from this kind of search, but possibly not if the drugs were in the center console or maybe even the glove compartment, because a weapon could be in that area. But the protagonist is very wrong in one important respect in this verse. First, the fact that the trunk is locked is irrelevant for these purposes. If the officer has probable cause to believe that there are drugs in the car, let's say they find the one missing Xanax pill that your wife left for you, they can search the entire car, including the trunk, even if it's locked. The other fallacy here is that the police will need a warrant to search his car. The Supreme Court long ago held that you don't need a warrant for a search of a car because, well, cars move and there's not enough time to get a warrant when it's a mobile thing. So cars, you don't need a search warrant. So the police only need probable cause to search a car. Okay, let's finish the Jay-Z verse here. Well, we'll see how smart you are when the canine come. I got 99 problems, but a bitch ain't one. Hit me. So now the protagonist knows he might be in trouble, and he's correct because the courts have held that a sniff by a drug-sniffing dog is not a search under the Fourth Amendment, so there doesn't even have to be probable cause to bring the canines in. But truthfully, he probably turned out okay because the police simply don't have enough dogs to bring in canines every traffic stop. It just doesn't happen. Which brings me to the last line, which is a funny line here for Jay-Z because he could be using the B word to refer to a female, but he could also be using it to refer to the canine dog that's about to come and sniff his car, which is why I love Jay-Z. I love him in a masculine brother, Rockefeller kind of way. In any case, I hope you had a good time. I did. Remember, keep your enemies close and your drugs even closer. And if you ever get in trouble with the police, for the love of God, don't consent, don't talk, and call me.